Ciceroni, your local shopping guide, are here at our weekly talk show, which is Candidate Ciceroni Live. And while we are stepping on to the 32nd episode of it, we realized, decor is becoming really important in everybody's life. It's an extension of your personality. And so when one talks about decor, it's not just home decor that you're talking about, but it's also about styling the spaces, be it an event, a luxurious home party, or a wedding decor, and a lot of things that come around it. Did you know that Indian wedding industry is pegged at about $40 to $50 billion and it's growing at the rate of 25 to 30%? It's almost recession proof. Marketers always talk about it. And they also say that people spend about 1/3 of their life saving into the wedding. It is really huge. Millennials love design, styling, decor, and they're willing to spend on it. And to talk about all this, what weaves all of this together is basically aesthetics. We have with us this two dynamic duo, which is Sweta Parikh and Ashit Parikh, co-founders of Grafico, with us today to talk about this and more. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Falgun.
So let's kind of tell you more about what this duo does and how did they enter into it. Sweta and Ashit cumulatively have a work experience of more than 2 decades between two of them. While Sweta is a qualified interior designer from MSU Fine Arts, she chose to pursue graphic designing and go further into the other aspects of design. Ashit is a certified gemologist and a passionate self-taught photographer. Between the two of them, they started Grafico in 2009, providing design services and later extending it to bespoke event styling services. So let's go into the details now. So we begin the conversation. Tell me, how did Grafico event start? It's a bespoke event styling services, which is an offshoot of your company.
Yes.
How did that happen?
A fluke, actually. So
No, I would not say fluke, but I think things that you want to do, it somehow kind of pulls you in, when you've probably seen it, something that you probably are good at.
Yeah.
And someone else kind of notices that and wants you to do it. So I think I would say more of that. So actually, since we were into design, we had a design studio, and there was a housewarming party for around 600-700 people. And the client contacted Sweta and said, why don't you design an invitation for us? Since they wanted to kind of send it out. So then with the conversation that they were having, I don't know if she kind of suggested the idea or the client
gathered that maybe we could do it, because we were giving them suggestions.
Right.
Suggestions and ideas which the client thought that it would be very nice and it's very helpful, so why don't you just handle the entire event for us? And we were happy to do it because we always want to do something new, something different, and try our hands in different things. So we were glad to take it up. So it was absolutely organic, nothing planned. No game plan, nothing had been chalked down. We had no idea about the agencies, whom we had to deal with, what all we had to do. But we had enough time, so then every single day for I think 6-7 hours we'd be out sourcing things, meeting people, trying to kind of gather information, because we wanted to make an impression. The first impression is always very important.
Sure.
And it was also not a small, though it was a housewarming party, but 600-700 people is almost like a wedding.
600-700 people in a housewarming.
And
so actually the thing is that we didn't even know in the beginning that it was 600-700 people, because the invitation was for the puja that happens in the morning, which was only 150 people. Then in the conversation we then realized that this is not 100 people, there is an additional evening event also. So but I guess like he said, that we've always been into styling in some or the other form, or I think our aesthetics kind of wanted us to go and do this, this feeling of wanting to put our aesthetics in outside world,
Absolutely.
So then it just came to us very naturally to go about, and it was like a happy challenge to take.
Which also makes more sense, because since you've designed the wedding and the housewarming in white, the aesthetics kind of carries it forward.
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we would even, design their, the color of the flowers would come from the design that we have
Correct.
taken. The fabrics would be matching to, that kind of a color palette or things like that. So yes, of course, it does. That's the best part, I think, when it comes to both of us. Both of us have our own core strengths. And since we work together, what happens is that something that I feel I'm not good at, he's way good at it, so it kind of both of us balance each other.
Complements in different ways, so we have, each one has a core strength like she mentioned, and I think which needs validation also from the other, because
Let me ask that, what is the core strength, since you're
So I
talking
think-
about it?
where there are a lot of smaller details, and I'm more into detailing. She has a larger picture in mind of how things go in larger picture. She's very even when it comes to communication, this is very important to have a very personal rapport with the client.
Sure.
Because it's a personal, whatever we do, mainly weddings especially, it's something very personal for the client.
Absolutely.
And Sweta is very good at kind of, having that kind of where would have the clients making special food for her when we go, and the client would know that I love coffee, they'd have an espresso ready for me, and they come inside and stuff. Yeah, so all these things makes it a lot more fun and a lot more personal rather than just doing a job,
When you're doing wedding, you're actually entering someone's family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you cannot be uptight.
Yeah.
You have to be a part of the family. Only then you will understand what they really like and what they really want out of you, to
Absolutely.
give them the end product.
Sure.
So,
and they argue in front of us, they fight in front of us,
Yeah.
because we all sit together and we have to decide. So then, so even they make us part of their family. I mean, not just for that event, but then even after that, because there is a certain bond which kind of develops
Yeah.
because of the time that you spend, the things that you discuss, which otherwise, you'd not discuss if you just even are friendly to them.
Absolutely.
So I think, so that's where I think,
Both of you complement each
yes,
other in those
and
ways.
where she's maybe emotional, and that I try to even at times take some practical,
Pragmatic
that okay, this needs to be addressed or talked about. So then it's a good combination, I would say, where
yeah, and then he puts the conversation in the right direction, because when you get too friendly, then you start talking about other things
Yeah.
and not what it's supposed to be
Correct.
talking
So it
about.
makes more sense
Yes.
of pragmatism.
Yeah.
Lovely. So tell me, how has the industry progressed? You guys started into this business about Grafico as a studio in 2009. Of course, you were practicing earlier also. So has Ashit also the experience earlier working for his own company and cataloging and photo shoot, and you into designing and all of it. Tyar Sudima, lot has changed.
No,
Demands
absolutely.
have changed completely.
Absolutely.
And market need for decor design has increased manifold.
Yes.
So what's your view on that? How do you feel the market then and now?
So to start with, earlier only few companies which were either doing very big businesses
Yeah.
or of a certain scale, I would say,
Yeah.
would think of thinking about aesthetics,
Yeah.
think about marketing, thinking about brand creation, which is very important, to create a brand.
Right.
As such, India was always about, making cheap goods for the West. You would have, hundreds of units making,
Yeah.
textile or
Yes.
clothing and all for the world, but we never had to create brands, and we never created brands. Even when you talk about IT, we are the back office of
Yeah.
the world. But since last 10 years, even, you would be the best person to also know this, but students from NID or NIFT would graduate, and their aim would be to go to the south, get a job in a big export house and
Yeah.
work there
Yeah.
as a designer, as a textile developer, or in jewelry design, or whatever different fields. But now each one wants to create a brand.
Create their own design house.
Especially, I think, thanks to social media,
Yeah.
which has kind of, given them that boost that they don't need a certain kind of investment is not required.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of pop-ups, and how every day there's
And
3
exhibits.
pop-ups, right?
Yes.
You go visiting all of them, 15 from
Oh my God.
But
And they all are crowded.
So to create a brand, you need a certain kind of aesthetics. Now everybody is on their social media, Instagram, Facebook, and they are aware of the aesthetics around the world, and they want to match to that. It's no more about that. Okay, since we are a Indian brand or Ahmedabad-based brand, our aesthetics could be of that level.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Everybody wants to be at par with the world, showcase their product as an international quality, or even the visual of it. So that way, even the smallest of designer to the smallest of manufacturer, they want to showcase their product in certain light.
Yeah.
So for that, you require photography to your design, to even when you do a pop-up or exhibition, the aesthetics of things there. So it's a combination. Like you're doing an exhibition in few days, and then it's even how your products are being put
Absolutely.
to the our event bit where how we design and decorate the place, to even the graphics with how things are displayed, or the peripheral things, how cards or certain things can be picked up and taken home, and the brand is kind of embedded in people's mind who come and visit.
So
the
I
space.
feel that styling now is not just at this level. It is now from the bottom to the biggest, in the sense from whether to doing small exhibits or even keeping small dinners,
Yeah.
to weddings or receptions. Everywhere now people want the space to look beautiful,
Right.
and to give out a certain kind of aesthetic. Whether it is theirs or not is another thing.
Regardless of
Yes,
that, yeah.
but give it an aesthetic, so obviously they would even choose accordingly as to whose aesthetic they like, and then have them over to do it. Yeah. So even like he mentioned about exhibits, nowadays whether it are local brands or big brands, there is a certain aesthetic that they carry, and they would even in that exhibit,
Would want to carry it forward.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then each event is different. I mean, I'm not just talking about the events bit, but even as a design, where a wedding show would be very different from, say, a Nicobar coming and doing a show here, or a casual clothing company would have a very different
have a very
approach, and they want to
different
showcase their
approach,
brand and the place to showcase what their aesthetics is,
So
or
tell
match
me
to
on an
that.
average, like when you do the parties, like the dinner parties, because now that's become
Yeah.
the new norm, the Diwali dinner. I'm sure Christmas dinner પણ આવશે અને New Year's Eve dinner પણ આવશે.
બધું આવે છે.
અને પછી ઉત્તરાયણ parties, I'm assuming that will be another thing that will come up. So on an average, અમદાવાદી કે ગુજરાતી જે અહીંયા ગુજરાતમાં parties કરી રહ્યા છે લોકો, what's the average spend that happens? Ballpark figure,
There's no average.
between એવું કંઈ?
There's no average.
average.
Depending on the importance of the occasion or the event. We've had people come where we had someone said that I want to propose to my girlfriend, and he
So
spent
sweet.
2 lakhs for a small little day, but then which was fine with him.
Yeah.
So depending on if it's a 40th birthday or a Diwali party, or the strength of the people that they're calling, and also it's a personal matter of personal. But yeah, I mean, ranges vary from everywhere.
But you
I
see
mean,
the business potential.
oh, absolutely,
absolutely, yes.
Like this year, I mean, Diwali was something which, I mean, parties were just kind of you meeting in, but now everyone wants to get the
Even
decor
Diwali
done in a
decor
certain way,
happens
and
now.
so
Yeah. Also, the sit-down dinner is a new
yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Since a few years, in the
No,
sense 2-3
2 or 3
years,
years,
but
yeah. Yeah.
But yes, like if they have a small gathering, then I guess nowadays everybody loves having a sit-down dinner. It's just the idea and the feel, especially with better weather, people want to have it outdoor. So yeah, sit-down
And
dinners
also
have
with
been the in thing recently.
I think people are a lot more exposed. Their taste palettes have improved,
Yeah.
and because of that, they want in Ahmedabad still there's a lack of good food outside a certain cuisine,
Right.
which lacks in Ahmedabad.
Right.
So when someone has means, they, we've done a lot of parties where the chefs have been, flown in from all across India and even the world.
Yeah.
In fact, for those sit-down dinners, and they want to give an experience. So it's just with the food, they want the space to be in a certain way, and create something special for their friends or family, or their invitees basically.
Lovely.
So yeah, I mean, we have a wedding where the the groom, he's gotten truffles from Italy, and he wants, during the wedding, he wants that to be served. So yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm drooling at the thought of it.
But if you have access, then people want to do it.
And now access is there.
And they also
Now
they also want to do something different, because the regular things have happened.
Right.
Next, what can happen?
Right. So also there is one-upmanship happening at a lot of levels.
I would gather so. That's in everything, I think.
Yeah.
In everything. So this is one of them, So definitely because of the social media, you are aware of what's happening, and you want to do it better, right? I mean, that's the, I think, that's the human kind of nature to kind of do better even with yourself, and also things around you. You want a bigger car, better dress, better party, better this. So I'm sure that's happening also, which is good for us.
Absolutely. So tell me, while the business is good and demand is good, I'm sure there must be challenges that would be there in this industry, especially when we talk about decor and styling and translating it to a lot of things. So number one, what are the challenges? And number two, since we speak to a lot of people into fashion and lifestyle, we realize that plagiarism is a big concern. So is that a concern when you talk about decor? So two questions.
Okay, yeah. So let's start with the first question, which was challenges, right? So I think I can't think of major challenges, but I think it could be major depending on how the situation kind of turns out to be. So one of the challenges is that to get if we're working with a family or a larger group, to get everyone on one page, and so that's the initial challenge. Once that is said, then I think things happen more smoothly. And second is kind of production, and at times we face that, but we also manage that with the agencies that we have. At times it is restricted to a certain agencies at certain places.
Sure.
So then working with new people, we have to kind of to translate our understanding, the detailing that we want, the kind of things that we're looking at, because not everybody demands that kind of detailing.
Precision.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have a very limited time at times, so it's just you have a wedding the previous night, and you are getting the plot only at late night or morning. Then a very limited amount of time you have to manage and kind of get all these things done. So I think that I would say would be one of the big challenges.
Sure.
And
working with new agencies, because they don't know what we demand, right? Or because they've never worked with us, so execution becomes an issue if they are not at par as to what we
So maybe professionalism can be added to it.
Yes, absolutely.
So we restrict to certain agencies. We try to or kind of tell the client to kind of restrict that because of our experiences from the past, and we say that we recommend agencies which we know are known to deliver good work, and
or worked with, because then they know what we want, so it becomes easier.
Sure. And about plagiarism?
I think
Or is it imitation of the best form of flattery?
Absolutely. And I feel certain brands have become big because of, you talk of Louis Vuitton or whatever. They know what's happening in China and Hong Kong and maybe even, I don't know, all across the world. But they also built a brand because of that, even on if you go to a slum, there'll be someone wearing a t-shirt with that. So they're getting publicity. I think they're selling what they're selling. I think no one has really been hurt from that, because someone who can't afford that will anyways not buy that.
Correct.
And someone who can will not buy a imitation, that about fashion. But yes, in events, you also have to put your work out for people to know. So on social media, you can't restrict your work saying that it will be copied or it will be, fine, it's done. We also don't want to repeat our work, so it's fine that even if someone else does it, we don't want to repeat it in any case.
So I want to mention here, I personally love your aesthetics when it comes to photography, styling and all of it. And because we keep seeing so many things, we also keep seeing that some touches are taken from here and there,
Yes.
people are kind of doing that. So how do you experience that in fashion styling? I'm sure you must be
I think
does it bother you?
It doesn't, because frankly, there's blue jeans which maybe 500 500 companies are doing. So who started it? Or someone saying, a restaurant saying, "Ke I serve chicken tikka or paneer tikka." I mean, someone started it, right? Then everybody copied or.
It's always it's a circle, right? It comes back no matter what, in whatever way, you know. It could be that you picked up something but you tweaked it a little.
Correct.
So that is your bit of aesthetic that you put in, but there has to be some base. Originality comes with something.
See,
that
even
it
if
was
the
done
dresses, you
before.
don't create something. There is, I mean, you being in the industry, there must be certain cuts, maybe 20, which
8-10 cuts.
right. I mean, so there's no one who cuts say, I mean, this will be, I mean, I don't know, something completely different, which you see on the ramp. You see this weird kind of, you know, garments, but on the streets you never see that, you know. So yes, I mean, things will tend to repeat because also there is so much of information and you know, visuals that you will see that it overlapping.
Sure.
And there's limitation of also you know, things that you get, or you know, budgets at times. So maybe with the same vendor you keep seeing the repetition of using the same thing again.
Sure,
you know.
sure. I think the production is done already, so you want to kind of make use of.
Exactly, that happens a lot. Yes. So then again, with any designer or us, would happen with that. If this is something that we have to use, then how can you change it so it doesn't look the same? You know, so it shouldn't look picked up and just put there. So yeah.
Sure. Right. So going back to one of the favorite topics again, which Ashit is going to kind of flare up now. So sustainability. I also read about this certain wedding designer who was speaking about how people are now kind of veering towards sustainable design, eco-friendly design, even for wedding. You know, they want to ensure that the carbon footprints are minimal when they are opting for something like this, and it is actually a very tedious job to do that because it is not sustainable. And so this person was kind of talking about it, and so the question comes up that Gujarat ma, how is the situation? Are people asking, are there dialogues about it when it comes to wedding, or no, not as yet?
No, I would say not at all. We have maybe one or two clients who do
yes.
would say that we would like to be, but I think it's overhyped at times where you know you just concentrate on one bit where you feel that you're being sustainable. Like I said that you don't want to use flowers which come from Thailand, but then you have food which comes from Japan, then it's not sustainable, right? I mean, it has to be a holistic. It has to be a lifestyle. It can't be about.
To go on all base levels.
Then you call 50 people and have a small wedding because you want to keep it sustainable. You can't call 2,000 people and have a wastage of food for 500 people and then have the decor which is sustainable.
Right.
So I think these are hashtags very well used and used for it's like the PR activity for people, or to kind of come into limelight, or to that the article happens on them because you are sounding different.
The theme is different.
You're just sounding different. But yes, I mean, a lot of things that we do are reused, in fact, in multiple ways. I mean, they are used multiple ways. And main thing, I think, floral, which is also, I think, there are also companies which reuse these flowers. There is a company which makes,
incense sticks
and all from used, So I think there has to be a proper logistic system where it is collected and transferred. And, then I think it's all about a system. You can't just design and you feel good that you did your bit. Yeah. But you have to make sure that the entire chain is kind of sustainable. Only then it makes sense.
Having said that, I would still feel that even if someone is putting in a little bit of effort, if everybody puts in effort, there would be a certain change in the society of sustainability. Even if it is just one thing that you are thinking about being sustainable about, So yeah.
Makes sense. I think a lot of people are going back to Patra and
the paper plates and all, the leaf plates. Yes.
So just kind of thinking out loud that.
So how is it sustainable?
No, what I mean is that you're not kind of using plastic. You're using the
plastic already, but that plastic is used for 100 times. the same dishes.
But it's not
can be used
biodegradable.
No. So Pelaji, what you're saying is glass in a plastic.
to get those patra from Orissa.
It in itself is
Imagine the footprint of it being whatever the fuel which goes into getting it from there, transferring all of that, the labor. See, sustainable
Local.
is something
Everything
which
local, yes.
sustainable means it has to be local. It has to be seasonal.
Yeah.
Now you want curry no ras in December. And I mean, having the fridge on for whatever in the cold storage is for to freeze. It's not sustainable,
Not sustainable.
right? So I think
You're talking to the wrong person, I'm telling you.
I don't. I mean, but I see people talking about it in a certain way, but then they abuse that. The same thing in a lot of other ways. So that I find it
I
little
think there has to be a little logic that
logic
goes along
in
with the
in every way,
Yeah.
You can't be hypocrite about it. Then you have to, like we said, you
Live
have to
the life.
Live the
live
life,
it like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean,
Like even when it comes to organic, you eat an organic bread, but then everyday thing you're not eating organic. You're having an organic jam, but your grains are not organic, then you're not living an organic life.
Sure.
So why not? I mean, if you call for 1,500 guests, have a carpool. If you
Yeah.
really want to make when we design a wedding, there are 1,200 people coming. We have to make arrangement for at least 700 cars. Imagine, so it's not even. I mean, average of 2 people per car.
Per car, yeah.
Now imagine
Yeah. You lost it there.
you lost it there, right?
Got it, Ashit. All right. So florals. You mentioned florals, and I kind of look at all the design aesthetics and everything that is going on, and the trends that are going on in the decor industry. And 2018 and 19 was a lot about florals. Everybody is kind of making use maximally of the greens and the florals in the spaces. How long will it last, and what is the alternative option for it if somebody wants to do something different?
See,
I think flowers are beautiful. and I think why should it
flowers
go away?
Flowers are meant to anyways fall off the stem and die. Okay, so if you're using the flowers of the season, you've done your bit. Anyways they've grown and they're going to die soon, so might as well use it for your decor.
Yeah.
And other flowers that are flown about the carbon footprint what we are talking about is fine, but otherwise even they are local, where it's local season
Seasonal
flowers.
Yeah.
So it's not like most of the flowers do stay, and some of them are very delicate. So it depends on the season. It depends the time of the day. All of that matters a lot.
Sure.
So.
But yes, a lot of props. We ourselves use a lot of props. Not always that we want to use florals. We end up using a lot of florals because I think it makes you can give a different look, because there are certain flowers which associate with a certain occasion. It could be traditional, that you use, say, gotas and rajniganthas and gulab, and these flowers are something which gives more Indian kind of traditional feel.
Sure.
Then if it's a function where it's a more Western, then we use certain flowers and make it look. So it changes the look of the event. So definitely we would want to keep using flowers. But continuing that, we also started to use a lot of props. So we develop a lot of new props.
Yeah.
Yes, and that where we can use it, and we don't always have to use it in a certain numbers.
Sure.
That also, and that would depend on because of the budget constraint, or or the scale of the space, that we want to use it in a specific places only.
Sure.
And the rest we still have to kind of make use of a lot of maybe use
Beautify it with the flowers,
with lighting. I think lighting is one of the most important things, I think, according to me, for anything, even space design or event.
Yeah.
I think it can change the mood of the space in a minute.
Yeah.
The same space with a different lighting can change, and we did it with our first event. In fact,
Yeah.
we created a little space where it was absolutely dim lit. Can you imagine a reception which usually has these floodlit environment? And there was a little cafe that we created there, okay, with nice espresso coffee and cappuccinos and all. And in fact, most of the people, I mean, the regular vendors and all said, no one's going to come here, And they ended up using up all their coffee beans, and they had to go
and get
more,
another
because everybody
batch.
was flooding there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you want more cozy environment, you want a little more, certain places you can't avoid.
Sure.
because of the food areas, and it should be visible. Then again we design even props where it's targeted to the lighting is only focus on a certain areas,
Sure.
not to flood or make it flat, the lighting
Pay
flat.
attention to lighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so you get the ambiance instead of just having it one,
Flat.
one flat light. Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
sure. So this is the last question because I think we are already around the time.
Okay.
But I also know that you guys do phenomenal work into food styling as well, And I remember you doing.
Other than that, I think the essence of design, the basic elements is the same.
Remains the same, yeah.
Textures, colors, the proportions, and it's an arrangement of that which is designed. So I think if you got that, it could be whatever material, it could be food, it could be interiors, it could be event. I think if you have the understanding of that, I think, and that's why we've been able to kind of dabble into all different kinds of
So you
design.
guys do most of it, right? You guys do photography, you guys do
Yes.
styling, you guys do design.
Events.
Graphics, website, yeah.
like one-stop solution for everything which is design related.
Yes, yes.
Right, and you do into all of the categories, fashion, food.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we work. Most of our clients who are design conscious, so they are mostly designers. It could be furniture designer, jewelry, clothing, restaurants. So most of the clients are who require that aesthetics and design sensibility in their collaterals, in their marketing material, or just to establish their
Brand.
packaging design. So yeah, I mean, all these things where now you have to be different also, and you have to be even an oil company now has, you earlier ago there would only be 2 or 3 brands. Now we have 50 brands. How do you really stand out? So we recently designed a packaging for a oil brand. They're into cold press, oil brands, and so we designed the bottle, the packaging, the colors, and in that market scenario, how it would look different, and stand out. Yet kind of communicating with that little bottle what it is about. So all these challenges definitely, but the end of it, it's the design is all about a combination and understanding of all these things, where too much is also not really required. Then it gets confusing. It's like a billboard. A lot of times when someone is doing a billboard, we want to put this,
all the
that,
information out there.
and we said we are driving a car, we are passing by, we have
won't
2
be able to
seconds.
read so much.
We have 2 seconds.
Yeah.
3 seconds and you have an accident, right?
Yeah.
So 2 seconds you have to understand what the brand is. So at times less is more, and what is required to be there, if it's there, then it will be visible. If there's a lot of it, then your mind is confused into just kind of scrutinizing the entire thing. So it's better that at times. So depends on where.
But
and
I
how it's
also
used.
feel that minimalism is getting there, like earlier it was all cluttered and crowded, advertisements, all of it, Now people do understand that no, it has to be
the right thing has to be communicated in the right way. It doesn't. It's not about quantity. It's just not about just and your approach and your aesthetics, I think, has to come out.
Aesthetic has to come.
Yeah, like even when we do fashion or photography, it's not that the jewelry or the clothes has to be visible, but it's the mood.
Overall
The
mood
mood
and
talks
aesthetics.
about what the brand is about, rather than showcasing the clothes, because you can showcase 1 or 2 clothes in an ad. You might have 50 or 100 designs. But you're showcasing more of your mood and your aesthetics rather than that particular design. So yeah, that's the difference, I think.
Brilliant. Last, I know the time is over, but this is my question, and just
Okay.
yes or no. Is Gujarat willing to pay for all of this aesthetics?
Yes.
Lovely.
That was a big yes.
That is a big yes. So thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
There are a
Pardon.
few questions that are pending. I knew I wouldn't be able to complete it. But thank you so much for your time and insights into this
Thank you.
decor and aesthetic industry.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so
Absolute pleasure.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. So I hope you got some insight into how aesthetics is really, really important into designing any of it, whether it's an experience, whether it is home, whether it is fashion or food. If you like the episode, do like, share, comment and subscribe on our website. We will be back next week once again with another guest and talk about different issues. Thank you.